Yep, we're gonna be saying stuff tonight.
Take me down to the Paradise City.
Yep, now it's gonna be stuck
I
in your
guess
head.
that's the opening.
Take me down to the podcast city where the bed is Holt and the guys are pretty.
Yeah, okay.
Captain America fucking sucks. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this will be our first episode of MCU Month, probably bringing in a lot of people who haven't listened before, and this is
Wait, that clip you got to put in there.
yeah, no, it's as good a way as any to start. As you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast yet, so it'll either be just like insulting anyone who's listening, or something along the lines of "Welcome to Late to the Movies." My name's Ben Holt, and this is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Every week, we'll pick a movie that either I or a guest hasn't seen before, and really should have by now. This week, as already stated, we are kicking off our MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe Month in honor of the 10th anniversary of the release of the first Avengers movie. And we're kicking it off in not the order it was released, but the mostly chronological order, because I guess the framing is present day, whatever. The first one that mostly takes place the longest ago, and that is Captain America, the First Avenger.
Woo.
With me today, from left to right across your podcast dial, we got Noah,
Hi.
Robbie,
Yo.
and Cory.
Hey.
Robbie's been on a bunch of these lately, but it's actually been a bit for you guys, so I'm glad we got the old team back together. The spooky crew,
We got sick a couple times.
the Matrix mates. I don't know if we ever came up with
Oh,
a.
that's I like that.
Yeah, those were our.
Don't
Our-
forget
our
the
signature.
cameo from Stan Lee.
Before we talk about the MCU, before we dive into Captain America, what have you guys been watching lately? Anything good?
Actually, this is not normal for me. I don't watch a lot of movies. Recently, I've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I loved. I thought it was incredible. I watched Good Times. Or is it Good Time?
Just good time. Singular
Good
time.
Yeah, there was only
There's
one
just the
time.
one
The
time.
movie, it was a rough time.
No sequel. That would be good times.
Yeah. Although I'm curious. And that was a great movie. And then we watched It Only Comes at Night, which is like a Filipino kung fu movie. Probably the most gory movie I've ever seen in my life.
Dope.
Didn't we? I feel like we watched a lot of movies recently. Player Up, Level Up.
There was a couple of
Ready Player One.
Ryan Reynolds movies.
No, the new
No,
one. It's a
not
new
that
one.
one.
Oh, you watch a couple Ryan Reynolds movies?
Ben knows
a couple
what it is.
of the new ones.
Did
The
you
new
watch
Ryan Reynolds movie? It's like
Hey, Robbie
video
watched it.
game
Project
style.
Adam.
Project
We
Adam?
watched that too.
That was so
yes,
good, right?
we did watch that
I thought
one.
it- I
like
thought it was
I like
less,
that
Project
one.
Adam.
less new for Free Guy.
Free Guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Free Guy was the other
That,
one.
that was
yeah.
enjoyable.
Slightly less new Ryan Reynolds.
We
movie.
had to like calm down from the stress that was Good Time.
Oh my
We were
God.
like, that was a lot to experience. We need a playful movie.
Yeah.
Project Adam is in my top 10 favorite movies.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it.
It's
I
got
thought it
like
was
a
good.
30 on Rotten Tomatoes. Something like that.
Probably, yeah.
Really?
It's not loved by a lot of people.
I mean,
think
I
it
didn't think it
deserved
was,
that,
it
but-
wasn't like one of my favorites, but I didn't think it was at 30.
It was enjoyable.
Like I thought it was like
I
at
think
least
it's
like
overstating it.
a
It's probably
good
like
movie.
50 to
Yeah.
70.
It was a
somewhere in that
very
range.
unique plot.
Yeah, that's true. It was
And I
good.
love Ryan. He's my man crush.
he's a stud.
He is.
See those arms?
He's got arms for sure.
Yeah. Not when he was a kid.
I didn't like the kid in that movie. I'm just saying that.
Yeah. You also saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I
He
saw all
things
the
I saw.
And all the things Cory saw. besides
all the
that.
movies that Cory saw. And I after we watched Captain America, I also ended up watching Thor and Iron Man.
Nice.
So yeah, give my thoughts on that later.
I also
but-
watched a lot of anime.
Oh, okay.
Demon Slayer came out.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I feel like I have to get my hot take out there for the world, but I've watched a bunch of things recently, but I did follow up since the Blade Runner episode for our longtime listeners, and I watched Blade Runner 2049. 2049? Yeah, and I liked it better than the first one. So hate mail me. Noah manages that email. You can write them all you want.
Somebody
but,
please
yeah,
email me.
I thought it was better. I thought it had a
Someone
better
please.
plot. I thought it was more continuous, and I just enjoyed it more.
I actually didn't finish it because I just happened to watch it because my dad was watching it. I was enjoying it.
Yeah, I the first Blade Runner was okay, but it was just kind of like a mess, I feel like. And the second one actually had a plot that I enjoyed. So Yeah.
So crazy to
did
me.
like
I mean,
Blade Runner too.
I love both of those movies. I was definitely on the higher side of praise for Blade Runner 2049. Not like I'm any part of, but I still think that's a crazy take.
Yeah, the internet hated 2049.
Oh,
But
well, I'm about to have a hot take on this one.
They're mostly wrong, but because I think 2049 is really good. However, the first Blade Runner is better.
I also watched Molly's Game and I really enjoyed that. I think those are the two notable ones.
Yeah, that's like the turn for Sorkin because that's when he starts directing and
I need to watch that.
Molly's Game was really good.
When did that come out?
MG
2017?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
recent. Okay.
Okay, so I've seen this movie a bunch of times. Yeah, and Robbie's seen it a bunch of times. Or
I've really
a couple
only seen
times.
it like this might have only been my third, but I think it might be my second time. But
Cool.
definitely not more than 3 times.
Corey, I guess you had seen it a little bit before.
Like 1 1/3 times.
Okay, and then Noah's the one who is new for, right?
Yeah.
I hope so because we have to stop otherwise.
No. Yeah. No, you're right. I've never seen it.
Well, Rue never saw it.
Cool.
Oh, that's true.
So with that in mind, Noah, do you want to give us a?
Oh, I really don't want to do this.
You don't have to. It doesn't have to. If anyone else wants to do the 1 minute,
All right, give me a minute on the clock. We'll do this. I haven't done one of these in a while.
there's a minute on the clock.
All right, so you got like a scrawny, scrappy kid from Brooklyn. He's like the epitome of America, maybe like the captain of America, but you know, he doesn't like let people put him down. He fights with people, wants to join the military because he wants to fight in World War II, but not because he likes fighting, but because he feels like it's the right thing to do. So he gets denied a bunch of times, and then he finds like a doctor that's like, "You're the man I've been looking for." That wasn't a German accent. It should have been a German accent. Anyways, he goes into the military, does his military training, beats out all these big beefy guys that are actually just kind of meatheads, and then he gets injected with super serious
30 seconds.
soldier. Blah. And he goes and he's running around, he's being Captain America, but they just want him to do song and dance shows, but that's not what he wants to do, but whatever, he's helping. But then his best friend's unit gets caught behind enemy lines, so he has to go and bust him out. And they're like, "Oh shit, you're actually like this big beefy super soldier we made. We should have you do real things." So he goes and he's doing like real things, and then he beats Red Skull because they made super weapons, and he saves the day. Then there's Nazis, and he wins, but then he has to crash a plane and freeze in ice for 70 years.
Boom! You got you just went over a little bit, but that's okay.
Well done.
I missed a few things too, but that's fine.
Yeah,
You got all the 1940s stuff in under a minute, and it was just the last little bit about the freezing ice that went over time. So I want to state off the top because I'll let everyone else talk, but just in case you're someone who likes this movie and that's why you're checking out this episode, I like this movie a lot. I'm going to have a lot of positive things to say about it, so just hang in there. Corey, what did you think of this movie?
I dislike this movie. I did not think it was a good movie in really any way.
Okay.
But I don't think it's a terrible movie. It's
Interesting.
watchable.
Okay, cool. Noah, what do you think? I think it's good. We don't usually set how we felt about the movie at the top, and I feel like we probably should. So
That's a good
what I'm
idea.
asking.
It's pretty good. It wasn't great. It was fine.
I'm going to steal Greg's way he described it because I like it. It fits me perfectly. And I think if you're going to rank all 27 MCU movies, this is solidly in the bottom half. Probably the high top of the bottom half, but solidly in the bottom half. That being said, when it first came out, I remember absolutely loving it. And I think it's just because since then I've seen so many badass superhero movies with just like crazy powers and all of these really cool things going on that it kind of diluted Captain America's.
2 questions on that. So, one, were you already like a Captain America fan the first time you watched the movie?
To some extent, but mostly because I played with him in a Spider-Man video game back in the day. And I thought he was pretty cool throwing his shield and shit, but not like a comic fan. I didn't really know much about him or anything like that.
And then what movie do you think is worse? That's what I'm curious about.
Worse? Oh God.
There's a bunch.
There's a bunch. How would I?
Did you say
We can do like at the end a Marvel ranking.
Let me think of that.
So you guys can think of that. We'll cover that in the end.
Probably Guardians off the top of my head. I don't like as much.
Really?
That's insane.
Oh my god.
Guardians 2.
That's crazy.
Of the Galaxy?
Yes.
Yeah, just like
I was like, maybe I didn't see Guardians.
And then obviously Thor: Dark World. That's probably my last.
I
That's
didn't even watch that.
27 out
Probably
of
never will.
27.
yeah, Iron Man 2 is bad.
Is Iron Man 3 the one where he has like no powers the whole time? Because I hated that one.
Yeah, he's in the snow for some reason with some kid who shows up at his funeral.
God, terrible.
Like 11 years later. Anyway.
Spoilers.
So yeah, I think I knew Captain America mostly from Marvel vs. Capcom, the arcade game. He was like one of the, box art guys for that, except it was an arcade cabinet. So one of the cabinet art guys, I guess.
I might be thinking because Spider-Man was in that one too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. he was.
So that was really my experience with it. I didn't see this movie when it came out. I was in college at the time. It was 2011. And I just didn't catch it really. It wasn't that important to me to watch these movies at the time.
Wow.
It didn't become, it's hard to remember, but it wasn't like to me, it wasn't this huge cultural, like, okay, out of a sense of obligation, I'll see all these things kind of thing yet. Where were you guys at when this came out?
When did this come out?
2011.
It was about when it came out.
Yeah. Do you remember being like, oh, Ray, Captain America, or like, okay, whatever.
No, I saw that.
Obviously, no.
I don't even remember it. So
If you haven't seen it before, that's kind of the answer right there.
I remember being super pumped. When I heard there was this whole like Marvel thing going, I like had always a super high interest in comics and never like the desire to read them.
Mhm.
So to hear that they were making them into movies, I was all in, like right from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I liked some superhero movies at that point, but this was, these weren't the superheroes I cared about, right? These were the people that were available when Disney decided to go ahead and do the MCU plan and do the Avengers thing. It was growing up Spider-Man, then X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Hulk in some kind of order, and then everyone else, right?
I had some weird Sega games I can't fully remember that had like Iron Man, Captain America, and then also X-Men characters. It was weird. And I can't remember what they are, but
Yeah, and we're going to have someone on at least one of the episodes this month that is into all that stuff. So
Will?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was very upset with my feelings on Captain
So if you're screaming at your podcast player about how we don't know what we're talking about, don't worry. We're recruiting people who do. But this is
wrong.
Yeah, it's okay to be. We're mostly just talking about movies right now. So sorry, we're not going to go too much into deep lore, but we'll reflect on what we know. That's all anyone can ask of anyone else, right? So I'm curious.
When the movie came out, I
Yeah.
did not give a shit. But the only reason I watched it, like a good portion of it, the first time in parts, was my dad was watching it.
Okay.
So that's why I remember, like, we were watching some scenes and I was like, I've seen this. And I was like, I've seen this too. And my dad just watches whatever movie has any bit of action at all. And I usually just end up like sitting there and I'm like, all right, why not?
So Chris Evans is in this one. Had you guys seen the Fantastic Four movies that he's the Human Torch in?
No.
One. I saw one of them.
Yeah.
I saw
I think
them.
I only saw the first one. I didn't see the Silver Surfer.
I didn't know there was more.
Yeah.
Oh, Silver Surfer.
I saw both and I immediately deleted them from my brain.
I don't remember him being that compelling in those movies, but I haven't
No.
seen them since they came out, so I don't know.
He was basically a frat bro in those movies.
Right, yeah.
No offense to
He
frat
was
bros.
Jessica Alba's brother or something, right? Is
the,
that
the Invisible Woman's brother.
Yeah, they don't look alike.
Lucky.
No. No.
Uh-oh.
All right.
We have a lot of weird vibes tonight, just so you know.
Yeah, that's one of the. I'm just still upset about this movie.
Yeah, so those movies were, I think, like moderate, kind of modest successes, but it wasn't like the Spider-Man movies, obviously.
Oh, they were terrible.
Yeah, they weren't very good, but it wasn't like the most recent Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Fantastic Four that,
Also bad.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's like one of the most famous people, and he also played Human Torch, and no one even thinks about that.
Those were also movies I was very excited for and then very disappointed immediately.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, so let's get into it. Noah, did you know that for the first 40 minutes, Chris Evans has a little boy body?
Oh yeah, I did.
That's the notes.
What a great question to ask. I want to comment on this.
Yeah, well, I'm always like, ooh, what was new to you?
Yeah. It was
Cyberpunk.
yeah, definitely some cyberpunk vibes.
They patched those kids. They look more like kids now.
Oh, that's too bad. Kind of liked how bad they looked. Yeah, it was like I don't know. I don't know what you thought about it, Cory, but it was like it looked good, but it didn't look right.
Technically, like there was no like you couldn't tell like a definitive line or anything.
Yeah, I think
it was
as
a
far
good
as the
deep
actual,
fake.
yeah, it was a good deep fake, but it just looked weird. It just looked wrong.
Yeah,
It
and Noah
was-
kept saying, "Is that Captain America on a little body?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it kind of looks like those cyberpunk
The man
2020
kids.
kids or
Yeah.
20 whatever."
The adult children.
Yeah, the man kids, and it was just like I couldn't get out of my head until he turned into not a man child.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Even watching it again, I was just like, there really had to be a middle ground here. Like, you didn't need to make him this small. You could have just made him look like a regular person. Like, that would have gotten the point across just as well.
Or just like
imagine
hired an actor
That must.
that like looked somewhat like him.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, like, deep fake just the face, I guess. You could still
Or
do
you don't
that.
even need to do that.
I
Just
assume
like
that's what
someone
they
that
did.
looked pretty close.
Oh, and then, like, he got more chisel.
I mean, he just gained twice his size anyway, so the fact that like he got more attractive wouldn't be that weird.
Yeah, that's fair.
You could have
Yeah.
found a guy that looked a lot like him that was
Yeah.
smaller.
Even the height
Snub it
thing was a
over.
little weird. I was like, his bones
I like the
grew
idea of
too.
basically just having him do a Shazam, where it's just like literally a little kid, and then he just turns into an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi.
Yeah,
I was just like, his
I have
height
notes on
probably should have stayed the same. Like you said, you just stimulated
Yeah.
his muscles. I don't understand where like the 6.5 inches came from.
Also, the
We shouldn't get into the
instantaneous.
science,
That I would say the instantaneous knowledge of all fighting skills and like how to do everything. That came along with the serum too.
well, he was like he was an enthusiast of fighting before. Right?
Just not winning them.
Yeah, just
Yeah, but
kept-
you don't go from like
punched a lot.
Yeah, you could be a coach and you know how to play. You just don't have the body to do it.
no, but that doesn't make you like just because you got more muscle doesn't mean you know how to do it. Like
good fighter,
there's
yeah.
there's experience in like
Well,
doing the same thing over and over.
Not
again.
because of the muscle. He had a history of getting into fights. He just got his ass kicked a bunch because he was
Yeah.
small. So like he still could have technically known what to do and just not have been able to execute.
have the strength.
Especially if his arms grew in length too, which I'm sure they did. I feel like that makes a big difference.
Yeah, but without experience in that body, like fighting other people, I feel like he went from not winning any, like even if you're a small person, the whole point of like self-defense martial arts is you can beat someone bigger than you with technique. And he literally just stood there and got punched in the face. And then he went from that to literally fighting off 100 different super villains that were like literally trained doing this like for a while, like hired mercenaries.
Yeah, but he's not just stronger. He's like superhuman at that point.
Yeah, but there's like a lot of things I was watching it. Like Noah knows
He
because he was
can-
right there,
he
and
can
I was
just, like-
oh yeah, he just knows how to do all that now.
He can take like a 3-step run up and jump 50 feet now.
Yeah.
apparently. So
which he knew how to do really well right off the rip too.
He's a quick
And
learner.
instead of equating it to martial arts, if you equate it to boxing, I feel like that makes it a lot better because like
Yeah, but he was like, like he would like
mean,
turn around, block a punch, like spin around, shield someone, know the exact angle to bounce off of.
his shield work was pretty.
well, there was some time lapse. You know, like we didn't see like
he
all
did
of
go
his
to training and stuff.
Yeah.
like all of his. Well, the training was 1 week. I did have a note on that.
Okay, I mean, like,
Short.
But like,
there's freaking magic guns in this too. Like, what do we want to? How much do we want to?
No,
do?
no, that's a
well,
good
and that's
point.
what
At
I
some
was
point
like
you just
between
gotta
like
accept
each
it
of his
as-
battles. There's a lot of time lapse we don't see where he was probably training. And He was
Yeah.
probably like having other fights, and they did the highlight reel.
Yeah.
There's a guy with a red skull
Well, I bought that. Yeah, I mean, we all have a skull,
who harnesses the power of Odin's throne room. Like,
right? These are
what are we
established
doing?
real
Like,
things.
oh
Ben.
yeah, I wish there were more training montages too, but like, come on.
Fair.
There's plot
There's
holes.
just too many
That's all
holes.
he's
I
saying,
want to
yeah.
see
It
him
was
chasing
one
the
big
chicken.
Holes.
The
Wait,
Rocky.
what?
I
Where's
said
the
I wanted to see
chicken?
him
Oh.
chasing the chicken. The Rocky montage.
Oh yeah.
There are no stairs. He didn't have to walk up a
Yeah, he
single stair.
doesn't go to the
entire movie.
Philadelphia Museum of Art. So how does he get strong?
Also, he like gets injected with the stuff and immediately just like can function as a human being. Like
was-
that shouldn't be
That was his
possible.
willpower. He was
His
just like-
willpower made him know.
They were
like,
gonna stop it, and then he's like,
It's like you take a 98 Camry and then stick a V8 super turbo into it, and then you're just like, all right, well, good luck. and it just rips.
Sounds like it would work to
No
me.
tuning or anything.
If you put super oil in it.
Oh,
go.
that's right.
Yeah.
So that's your thoughts on Captain
Do you want to go
America
back to the
himself?
beginning? Do you want to know? Do you know what I think about the beginning?
I'm curious how you guys feel about Sebastian Stan as Bucky, because I always feel like he's definitely in that role for the modern stuff because he just doesn't work as a period guy to me at all. He just has a very modern feel.
Yeah.
So I just always kind of feel like he's kind of anachronistic in that
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's
in
fine.
this movie.
And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I feel like you need some kind of like a little bit of old timey accent or whatever. And he feels like a person that just from right now got plopped into 1942.
Yeah, you can't imagine him calling a woman a dame,
No.
and that's what you need.
Yeah. And it's not like a real accent. It's
Yeah.
just like an inflection on the way you speak.
Yeah,
But
like,
he doesn't- he
like
doesn't
whatever
do it.
Tommy Lee Jones is doing as the Colonel, that's what you need.
Yes. I did love Tommy Lee Jones as like a military gruff guy in this. I think they
Yes.
casted perfectly. And I'm actually like
Yes.
surprised he would do it. Like he just
I assume they just backed up the Brinks truck in his driveway. And, it's what they do. So early in the MCU, especially, but they still do it now. Is that they just lock down the people who are going to be the stars that are cheap at the time. Chris Evans was cheap at the time. Let's be honest, for like 7-picture deals. And then they fill the one-off cast with all like really classy people. So, Hugo Weaving as the villain,
Yep.
Tommy Lee Jones as just like a kind of 5th or 6th lead.
Yeah.
Sebastian Stan also pretty cheap at the time. They know they're going to be bringing him back multiple times. Like that's just what they do in these movies. Stanley Tucci is the doctor who he's on set 3 days, and then he's out within 40 minutes of this movie. He's already dead. So
Yep.
so I think that's just how they do these things. So I think what they did is they gave a lot of money to Tommy Lee Jones
Oh, that makes sense.
and said, "You'll never have to do this again, but here's some money."
But he seemed to like he put effort in. Like he did a very good job acting.
I thought he did great.
Minor
Yeah, he was
effort.
good.
I think he's
didn't
really
have
good.
a lot of
He was
competition
good.
in the movie.
Well,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
This is only like a few years after No Country for Old Men, where he's like really bringing it.
Mhm.
So it's,
well, his
it's
character
funny.
didn't need to like have a passionate.
Nope, exactly.
Like it
I
was
think that's
just
by
like
design.
it was perfect.
Yeah, that's by design. I think.
I guess that's why I didn't really notice. What's the guy who played Bucky?
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, I guess he seemed fine to me, but it didn't really stick out. I think because like aside from Tommy Lee Jones, and I guess the guy that played Red Skull too was good. Everyone just seemed kind of like fine. It was. I think it was like a weird mix of like old like that time period and like new stuff too. It was like a really weird. I don't know. I think they should have gone one way or the other. And it just seemed kind of like floating in between.
That was my overall note about the movie. Was like it seemed
Floating like Chris Evans' face on that little boy's body.
yeah. Oh.
That should be the
Like you know how when you build a quilt, you take a bunch of different pieces and stitch it together, and you got a blanket.
Sure.
That's how the movie felt. Like you start off, and then we're in an ancient tomb or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? What the? Well, first, no, you start off, and then it's like, oh, there's Nazis and like old cars, and then it's like, oh, we're in an ancient tomb, and then it's like, okay, there's lasers, and then it's just like, okay, now we're in like 1940 or whatever it is, and then there's a lot mixed in, and I think even just like from like the style of things, it like aesthetically there was no flow or like it didn't feel good.
Okay, well,
Aesthetics.
hold on.
Aesthetics is what I really want to focus on.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you have something else,
Well, so it started off with them finding Captain's crashed plane. That was the initial scene. Is they found that
all
and
icy
then,
and cold.
and then they went to Norway and they found a old monastery where they had old relics from the Norse
Yeah.
gods, and that was the Nazis coming in and taking them. So like that time period kind of lined up, and the lasers didn't come until after they harnessed the Norse technology.
But they still had like the look of everything was like it was almost like futuristic mixed with, and then like when they found the monastery, it was just
Well,
weird.
it's Hydra.
Yeah.
Hydra was their advanced.
But I don't think they portrayed it well. Like they could have made it stylistically better in a way where like it fit. Like it. I don't know how to describe what I'm saying in a better way.
Felt better.
Like I understand conceptually, I'm okay with it, but what was like actually done, I didn't think looked good.
So I actually like the their version of Brooklyn they have in this that you mostly see when they're driving
part was
through it a
good.
couple times, but then when he's actually chasing the Nazi agent who is stealing the serum, and he's going through the streets of their period design Brooklyn, I actually think it's like pretty tactile and pretty satisfying.
Oh, that scene. I did enjoy that scene.
Yeah. I like how that one looks actually, and I'm sure it's just tricks, but I don't know that they were filming everything in the same room in Atlanta yet, because I feel like that actually looks like they may have built some sets out and had to at least buy a few cars and maybe CGI the rest. I don't know. But starting once he goes over and there's the song interlude of, the Star Spangled Man with a Plan. And then everything from that point on is a whole different aesthetic. It's a lot. The CGI just becomes really bad. And this is my hot take. I think it looks bad on purpose. I think it's pastiche. I'm pretty sure it's homage to not just comic books,
A big pile of shit.
but
Sorry, poop.
to radio dramas from like the 30s and 40s. I'm pretty sure it's on purpose. And I think the reason it changes once he gets to Italy is all laid out in the Star Spangled Man with a Plan sequence. It's big and corny and it looks dumb. And I think it's supposed to. And I'm pretty sure it's homage.
Okay.
That's my hot take. And that is a new thought for me this time. And I didn't look it up. Maybe, so this is directed by Joe Johnston. Maybe he's talked about this and maybe that's what he said. I don't think he has, but I didn't look it up too much because I don't think we need to talk about Joe Johnston too much. But he's the director of this movie. He does period stuff and he does special effects stuff sometimes at the same time, notably with Disney before he made 1991's The Rocketeer, if you guys have ever seen that. So that's a big goofy thing that's set in the late 30s and is also a lot of homage and pastiche, and it's goofy. It's like, silly. And I'm pretty sure that's what he's going for in the second 2/3 of this movie.
I definitely got a goofy vibe from the like when he's doing the roadshow kind of thing. So I could see that.
And I found it really refreshing because they would not do something like that anymore. Depending on who's directing it, I mean, they could do something weird and silly and have a whole more than half of a tentpole movie be pastiche if it's like Taika Waititi's new Thor movie. I think he has agency to do something different. I think.
Can
James
you
Gunn with the
define
Guardians
pastiche?
movie- Yeah. So
It's a bakery on
That's what I
the
kept
west side
thinking
of
of.
Providence. They have great
Very good.
cannolis.
yeah. So it's taking different tropes and elements from something else and incorporating them in what could be like a kind of hacky way, but I think it's doing that on purpose.
Gotcha. I knew that just for our listeners.
Right. Sure. So it's kind of like
cut
homage,
that part
right?
out.
But to me, it felt overly pastiche. Like,
Yeah, it could be.
That I was just being
And like
was being
the,
pastiche.
the sequence where he turns into the big muscly guy is just straight from the Universal horror movies, like
yeah.
old school Dracula, Frankenstein,
Frankenstein.
especially
Yep.
Frankenstein. Yes, like it is that.
There's
the guy's,
lightning for some reason.
There's lightning, and the guy's like slowly
Flashes.
turning up a dial, and you're like, you should
Leave
sit
it
up.
on.
Yeah, leave it on. It's just straight Universal horror movie. And I
did think that was funny. It's like, is this steroids or is this electricity? Which pick one? Pick a lane.
Both.
It's light activated steroids, right? So that's what I think. I think that this is a kind of movie that Joe Johnston wanted to make anyway. He also made October Sky, which I definitely haven't seen in over a decade, but I remember liking.
I think I watched that.
Yeah, less special effects actiony, but still.
Oh, was that
pretty
the
good.
the kid making the rockets? Yeah, I
I
watched
did
that in
watch
fifth
that.
grade science.
Oh, I think
Oh, I might have too.
So I think we've all seen that. Anyway, yeah. So I think that is what he's trying to do with this movie. And I think that they probably didn't want him to do something like that. And I think it needed to go further in that direction, maybe. But for me, it was enough because I feel like it is at least something different. It feels fresh compared to what the MCU is today. That is my thesis statement for this episode.
Definitely possible. Like my note said, movies kind of all over the place stylistically. They don't set you in the world well enough at any point. Like, I don't feel like you're like,
I do like when they're like, he's in Italy now, and they're just like, and we're going to be in the woods the whole time because that's cheaper. We got woods here. We can say it's Italy.
When you said he went to Italy, I was like, I have no recollection of him going to Italy.
yeah,
but
same. I
like,
was like, he was in Italy?
yeah, I remember him being in England because they did a pub scene.
Yes.
And then like, I guess so the woods scenes was him going through Italy.
Yeah. It gives like a chyron. It says Italy, 1944, probably.
Oh, okay.
And it is when he does like a show, and they're like, bring out the girls.
Yeah, that was Italy. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then he goes and rescues Bucky's unit.
Like, did you ever feel like immersed in that movie? Like, you're like, you know, when you're watching a movie and you're just mentally there?
No, because I think that it's so purposely is foregrounding how fake everything is on purpose, because the CGI montages that it does, especially after he gets his Howard Stark designed uniform, is just like, if you go back and just watch that little montage, it only takes like a minute of once basically at first time he gets the uniform
On stage and stuff?
No, the first time he
after
gets
that.
the Howard Stark uniform,
Oh.
after the rescue, pretty much. And he forms the team for the first time, and they have like a montage of them doing missions or whatever. And the CGI looks so bad. And I feel like it has to be on purpose because it just looks so fake. And I feel like it's trying to remind you that it's fake.
Is it that, or are you potentially doing the thing where it's like, oh, I think this artist was trying to portray this, and then you
Yeah,
ask
that's
them, and they're
possible.
like,
That could be.
no, I was just painting.
It's totally possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing like another hot take in a different direction.
I think it's,
I hope you're right.
like a tribute to radio dramas. That's where I'm coming from. And obviously comic books.
Okay.
Probably more
does make
comic
sense.
books.
They
but-
definitely wanted the like him performing to be like super cheesy.
Oh, that part they
Yes.
did really well.
And I think the rest
That
of
I
the
thought
movie
was
is
well done.
almost that cheesy.
Yeah, I just feel like way worse.
I think they also they weren't trying to immerse you in this movie. I think they were trying to immerse you in the Marvel world. Like I'm pretty sure they already had their plan set up, and this was more of like a I don't think they cared as much about this movie as they did as introducing him for the beginning of like the Avengers that came at the end. Like this was all like prequel just to get him in with the rest of the Avengers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't do that for me. For me, I was just like, what the fuck was that? like I don't know what's going on in this world at all.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I needed if the movie was 20 minutes longer and just there was something in there to like really pull it all together.
I don't think they cared because they were they were just this was happening once.
This is the first
and then
cool Marvel movie.
we're getting him into the rest of the MCU that all happens futuristically. So
You're right. They
fuck it.
didn't need to.
Yeah.
They didn't want to need to.
Sorry, screw it.
Yeah, and pretty much the
With your
end.
dick.
The end just goes directly to Nick Fury's going to bring him into the team. That's what
yeah.
we're doing, and like, stay tuned. Coming next summer, the first Avengers movie, and that's what the end credits is for this.
I could have done it with the Spark Notes version. A nice YouTube 20-minute video and then the end scene.
Yeah, basically just like
Juice.
I think it's so unreal on purpose because it sets up him being such a man out of time and him being just uncompromisingly himself, even though people like him don't exist anymore in the rest of the modern MCU.
Okay.
That was only one thing I didn't like.
And you might,
Yeah.
I mean, and that might not even be what they're doing, or you can think that's what they're doing and still think they do it badly. That's totally fair. But I think I appreciated it more this time.
One of the things that annoyed me, and this is a trope I see in a lot of movies, but I hated in the beginning where they had people speaking Norwegian without translation. Why do you do that? And like, I get when you did it in like West Side Story, he had a point, but they just had the people in the monastery speaking Norwegian, and the subtitle was just like speaking Norwegian.
Oh.
I hate when movies do that. It happened. Don't give me that look. They had like
I don't remember that, but it might
know
just
the-
not be.
I know the part you're talking about. but I
Right,
don't
it's probably
remember
just
that
not a
happening.
pressure point for me. like it is
yeah.
for
right
you.
at the beginning when they were talking about like you finding the artifact and stuff, the two people there before the Nazis broke in were speaking in Norwegian to each other, and just for some inexplicable reason they were just like, speak Norwegian, don't translate it whatsoever
I
for
think the
any
reason is like, who cares what Norwegians are saying to each other?
wow.
Sorry for
I
our
care.
Norwegian
Wow.
Oh, you want
listeners.
fish soup tonight or like fish paste?
There were Nazis at the door. They were talking about the artifact and stuff.
Oh, should we distract the Nazis with our fish? Like,
Well, we just lost
there was,
all our
you
fans
could have
from
had him say nothing then. I don't know. Don't have people speak a different language and don't translate it.
The
for
only
no-
time I like when they do that is when you're supposed to be in like the perspective of the person that doesn't understand. But they definitely didn't do that in this movie.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
that's a
saying.
good
Like,
point.
I
So it's like,
understand when
why?
you do it for artistic purposes. I just hate, and a lot of movies do it where they just like don't bother to put in the. It just annoys me. It annoyed
20
me a
minutes,
lot.
it would there's like a few $100s it would take to hire a translator.
Right.
Or no, because they definitely scripted that part too.
Exactly.
So they know.
And I think somebody who spoke Norwegian would be able to watch it and be like, "Oh, this is what they said."
They're just going like, I don't know what's going on. Nazi, Nazi, Nazi.
Like, why are they here? I don't know. Even if it was just like the subtitle of like, "Why are they here? What could they possibly want?" They were like, "The thing."
Or they just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh no.
Yep.
Yeah, they could have done that too.
Yeah. Sorry. That was just one of my notes.
You don't have to apologize.
I'm sorry for everyone that had to experience that.
I don't have a lot of notes. I have pointless ancient tomb, cheesy Nazis, cheesy cutscenes, lots of cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and I appreciate the cheese, so I guess we're agreeing on cheese, but
Yeah, I'm more of a like sharp cheddar kind of guy. This was
Yeah,
like
no.
this was like American sliced cheese.
This is
But like the
this movie
orange
is
one
American
that nobody
cheese.
really wants.
the craft,
sure.
the craft
Unless you're an
cheese.
orange cheese kind of guy, then I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
so no, this is your first time through. Do you have
He has a little bit of a bias because I was complaining the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. No, I think a lot of the stuff that Cory had talked about, I had similar kind of I felt the same way about that. Also, like I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. I guess in retro, like how you had mentioned that maybe that's what they were going for. But yeah, as a whole, I couldn't get into it. It felt like it was all over the place and kind of weird. And I don't think like any of the acting really stuck out for me. I don't know. Just like as a whole, it was just like fine.
I think
You know?
Agent Carter was pretty good.
Yeah, Agent Carter did a good job.
Oh, that
Also,
was
Daenerys in that for like 2.5 seconds?
No, it was
yeah?
Queen Margaret.
That's
Margaret?
yeah,
Natalie
Dormer. I wanna
Natalie
say.
Dormer. There we go.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Who is
But
she?
Game of Thrones.
Marjorie
She was
Tyrell.
she
Marjorie
was
Tyrell.
Yeah, Queen Marjorie.
yeah. She
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
She was a queen, right? Or
she married
Princess or-
Joffrey, and then she married.
Queen. Yeah.
she married in there.
Yeah. She. Yeah, I was happy about that.
Yeah,
little crush there.
Yep. Yeah, it was
Well,
like, oh shit, it's her.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, no. Peggy Carter was really good in it. I think she had some good acting for the parts she was in anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's Hayley Atwell. Of course, reprised the role in, Endgame, and then also in between, after this, the Agent Carter TV series.
She had a TV series too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It was pre-Disney Plus Marvel series, just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It was the prequel to Kim Possible.
Oh, that came out after.
I tried to keep a straight face. I couldn't.
So I want to point out, so this is written by Christopher Markus and Stephen McFeely, better known as Markus and McFeely, who have done a ton of Marvel movies at this point, but this was their first Marvel one. Before that, they did the Chronicles of Narnia series.
Oh.
But after this, they do, the other Captain Americas, one Thor, the one that we don't talk about. And then they take over the last couple Avengers movies with
Their talent got lost in Narnia.
Wait, what Thor don't we talk about?
Dark World.
Oh,
They cut.
Bad movie.
I haven't seen.
Yeah. Then they do the last two Avengers movies. So once they decide
Which that was a layup.
for the last Captain America and then the last two Avengers movies to just have the one team of the Russo brothers. Markus and McFeely also write all those movies.
Did they do the first Thor?
No.
Yeah, see,
That makes sense.
First Thor, great. Second Thor, terrible. Third Thor, one of the best MCU movies.
See, I didn't see
Was
that
that
one.
Ragnarok?
Yeah.
I don't know who writes the first one. Kenneth Branagh directs it, and he does his own writing sometimes. I don't know off the top of my head if he also wrote Thor 1.
I like Thor.
Yeah, Thor was really
I
good.
only saw
assume
one,
not.
maybe two.
Oh.
I think I saw two.
3 was amazing. You got to watch 3.
Yeah. Is that Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta freaking watch it.
It was also like hilarious. Like it was top tier movie.
For a second, I thought I watched it, but I was thinking of Avengers. I was like, is that when he gets fat?
That's just Endgame.
Yeah.
So, one thing that is kind of weird to me is I always feel like a little more than halfway through the movie, they decide they want to do the kind of military team up thing
Yeah.
we're going to get our best men together and go behind enemy lines, which is obviously a war movie trope. And
they had the classic guy with the big mustache and the machine gun.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about him. So just I don't normally timestamp stuff, but it's 2 hours and 6 minutes long, including credits, including the framing devices. And it wasn't until an hour and 3 until those guys get introduced at the prison escape.
Yep.
But the actual like forming of the team happens an hour and 13 minutes in. And Bucky falls into the ravine at an hour 25. So it's only 12 minutes that the whole team's together.
Oh, jeez.
They did Bucky dirty.
They just wanted to get that like team up in there, you know?
Yep.
So
Special effects for Bucky falling was awful.
I do love
They
that
were-
they
they
don't
were-
yeah,
focus
see,
at
I'm
all.
impervious now because
Not
I'm just
even
going to
in a
say it's on
cheesy way.
purpose.
It was just like, ooh, you didn't do that well.
I love that like they came back from the POW camp with all of these like super advanced weapons and just like barely talk about it. Like I feel like that would have been like a bigger like headline. I don't know.
Yeah, we just advanced our development 100 years.
I assume
MVD.
it's like the one person submarine that they just like have Howard Stark look at and like, hey, can you do anything with this?
It's like it's advanced.
You're the tech guy.
It's just like, wow, these are insane, mind-bending weapons for the 1940s. We still to this day do not have anything like that, and they're just like, cool. All right, we're not
And
going
they don't use them
integrate
to like go fight the people.
You think
Every
the
time they
team-
fight them, they could just pick up new guns.
or at least like the team they sent behind enemy lines is like, all right, we're gonna equip you guys all with these things you captured because they're fucking sweet.
And you could just pick up new ones.
Yeah,
So from when the team forms until Bucky dies, and then I mean even beyond that because the team all goes in for the final mission too. I marked down here, and this is when my thought process crystallized that the CGI was getting very Sky Captain-y at that point. If you guys remember Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, that
No.
fully CGI Jude Law movie from the mid-thousands. You don't? I don't know if it qualifies, but maybe
Let me look this up.
we'll do Sky Captain at some point.
It doesn't sound like I want to do it.
It was like a big deal when it came out because it was entirely CGI.
I'm not watching anything with the word captain in it anymore.
And as same deal as it's supposed to be, you know, radio dramas mixed with old war movies, and it's all style and floating people on the front of
Angelina
green screens.
Jolie.
She's in it for like a scene. She's pretty
She's
highly
all
billed.
of the pictures.
Yes, she's pretty highly billed, but she's literally just in like one scene.
See, this looks like they're trying to do what you were mentioning.
Yes,
Like it looks better.
maybe. Yeah,
Cohesive.
you should watch it. Yeah, so one thing I do want to mention, there's a Wilhelm scream during the motorcycle chase as Cap is distracting everyone and getting caught on purpose.
yeah.
Is there?
There is a Wilhelm scream. He does the thing where he sends the tripwire out behind him.
Oh, and yeah.
And one of the motorcycle Nazis goes over the tripwire, and there's a Wilhelm scream. And I just appreciated that they put that in.
What is that?
And that is what made me think, yep, it's super on purpose. So Wilhelm scream is
It's a ridiculous scream.
this famous sound effect that's been used most famously in the Star Wars movies and just kind of everywhere. And sort of
really most famously in Star Wars movies.
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
It's even like bled into certain. There's a specific bizarre scream in season 2 of Mandalorian that I think is also like, you know, a tribute to the fact that they always have weird screaming, such as the Wilhelm scream. It's used in a ton of different movies. It's in Indiana Jones movies too.
It's like
Is it just like
Anything
anytime
George Lucas
somebody's
touches.
falling down a hole or something?
Yeah,
it the
you
same
can.
sound
Yeah,
clip?
you can. It's the same sound clip.
Oh,
It's been
okay,
used for
okay.
decades and decades.
and it's like obnoxious.
And it's like a
Like, nobody ever screams that way.
oh
Yeah.
okay.
I'll
You can't unhear it now. Like I heard about it in a film class, and
No,
now
you
every
hear it
time I'm like,
every
oh,
time it
Wilhelm
happens,
scream.
yeah.
For your benefit, I'll play it.
Oh, okay.
But I will just put in the actual thing, like an actual sound clip and thing.
Okay. Oh, I feel like I've heard that before.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely
well,
have.
probably at least 100 times.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but like you were saying, the guy with the
Just like
huge
the movie.
handlebar mustache.
Yes.
None of these gentlemen are ever given character names.
Nope.
because they're just really not in it that much.
No.
But that is character actor extraordinaire Neil McDonough. Most recently, you can see him in a bunch of Redbox movies with Bruce Willis. But
He was Lieutenant or Captain Buck in Band of Brothers.
Yeah, he's a big bad in one of the later seasons, but not the last one of Justified. And he comes to a pretty bad end.
There was definitely a out of character scene where Captain America questions the Japanese guy's motives, and he was like, "I was born in Pasadena." I was like, "Wow, that was real nice, Captain America."
That's not Captain America. That's the Neil McDonough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Captain America.
The dude with the handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. But when they were meeting all the parts of the team, there's the Japanese guy.
Yeah. He says it twice because it's when they're leaving the prison, and Neil McDonough's like, "Oh, we're bringing everyone," as in like, "Oh, we're bringing non-Americans too." And he goes, "I'm from Pasadena."
Oh, I thought Captain said that. Okay, no, that was okay. All right,
That'd be messed up.
That would be really messed up, right? That's what I thought. Okay, no, that was the other.
Also, they literally like made the like default diverse military crew. Like, okay, we have a black guy, we have an Asian dude, we have a white dude with a handlebar mustache, and then we have a regular white dude that looks like, kind of attractive, and Captain America.
I didn't mean to set up such a rhetorical bulwark, but all I can say to that is, yeah, that's on purpose. As we continue, so Captain America gets caught on purpose. He gets brought before Johann Schmidt, a.k.a. Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving.
So that scene, he's charging into the base and he's going head to head with a tank. And I just lost it when he decided to take his shield and put it in front of his motorcycle. Like that was going to do anything for the tank missiles coming at him.
Yeah, it's vibranium.
Okay, but like it took up 3 square feet and the most of his body was uncovered by it. I just like, okay, hopefully they just aim specifically at your shield and not at the wheels underneath you.
It's the perfect
33% chance to save his life.
Robbie, you're not going to believe this.
That's part of the movie.
I bet that's on purpose.
No.
This movie is purposely so shitty that it's brilliant.
That's a thing that's always the Captain America stuff throughout the rest of the movies, right? Is people only ever fire his shields.
Yeah.
It's fair. But at least when it's just on his body, he can move it and stuff. He put it as a fixed target right in front of
I
his...
think it's...
Not attached to anything either. It's just like there. So like it could have just fallen over.
I know, you
It's
guys think
probably
this
pretty
movie's
heavy. Or it's
big
not that
dumb,
heavy.
but I think it's big subversive. I think it's purposely calling out all these like fallacies and illogicalities on purpose.
And I respect your opinion.
But it's wrong.
I like how when he's going to pick the shield too, Noah brought this up. They had like these, 3 shields on the table. And like, which one do you want to choose? And then he's like, oh, what about this one? Like, oh, well, that's only made out of like the strongest, lightest material ever and like probably the best shield. But why would you want that? It's not done yet.
Oh, yeah. You don't want that one. That's
It's
a
because
prototype.
Stark wanted to keep it because it's all the vibranium they had.
Yeah, but
Why even make
Oh,
it?
so like, yeah,
What is he gonna do
like,
with
oh,
it?
this is all the vibranium
I
we
don't know,
have.
just tests and shit.
yeah,
make,
he wants
make
it.
a
He-
circle.
That's
That's good.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's make it into a shield. That's not like, I don't know, build something else more useful.
It's like a
with
big
it.
circle. It's like a pie, right? That's the easiest shape to take from is a circle.
Not when,
it's just
when
like,
it comes
well,
to metal.
If Captain America wasn't going to use this,
Yeah, most
the same way.
Yeah, usually you go into rectangles, but whatever.
so if that wasn't specifically for Captain America, who the hell else was going to be using a shield?
Howard Stark.
Okay.
Is Iron Man's suit made out of vibranium?
See, that's silly.
What's it
and
made
it's-
out of?
It's like a logical
just metal.
leap,
Just
but
metals.
I think it was on purpose.
Is that is Wolverine's claws? Is that vibranium too?
Adamantium
Adamantium.
and bone originally.
Yeah, he actually had the bone claws.
In Days of Future Past's 70s timeline, it's bone.
It always was bone. They just coat it in vibranium
Oh, sure.
or
enough.
adamantium.
Fair. This last sequence, what'd you guys think? You're mad about the logic? How long do you think it takes to fly from the Alps to New York City?
Okay. Yeah.
2-3 minutes?
We're skipping a lot here.
We talked about this.
But we could rewind later.
Well, we already got to the confrontation with Schmidt
Well, I have one
in
more.
the base. We didn't get him on the plane yet,
I have one more illogicality there. So he charges in from the front. He's got his shield on his motorcycle. He gets captured. Guys crash through the back window and they're like, hey, Cap, think you need your shield. Where the hell did they get his shield from?
No, the guards had it. The people who took Captain America into that room had it.
Okay.
Right
So
when they come in
they
and start
crash
shooting, it shows the guy holding the shield fall down on the ground dead.
Man, okay. All right. I'm sorry. They lost me towards the end. I was not paying as much attention as I
guess
should
you
have.
weren't.
Okay. I
Why
thought they
not?
crashed through the window and they were like, "We got your shield." And I was like,
No.
"How did you get his shield?"
The shield was already in the room. They shoot the guy holding the shield, and then they give it to Cap.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yep.
then rescinded.
You know what? Perfect movie.
That's it. A+.
In that case.
Sorry. All right. Continue.
The ending made me the most mad. Because okay.
It's so clearly on purpose stupid because he gets onto the Valkyrie, the ship that has the other planes on it, and the planes are all fucking labeled like New York and Boston and Chicago.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
stupid.
that was fine.
Why would they do that? There's no reason for that.
Well, no, because
They should know where they're going.
those were the bombs, right?
They were flying them.
Yeah, they were gonna like suicide bomb them, right?
Right, but if you're the
How
person
are we
doing
gonna
it,
know where they're gonna drive?
Yeah, but how are you gonna know who's?
they should know that. They're like trained soldiers.
the
They don't have to write like the destination on their
like
tanks.
would
the
always do
planes
that. That
was
themselves,
for us.
the planes
Graffiti.
themselves didn't have to have destinations. You could have had unmarked planes, and I was the soldier that was flying to Boston, so I'd get in
Yes,
any
you would
one of
get in
these
one of it and
planes.
fly to Boston.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You didn't
No,
need
no,
to.
no, you
It's
need
so
to-
stupid. It can't possibly not be on purpose.
You need the Boston plane, or else it actually just plays Dropkick Murphys as you're dropping down. It doesn't
shipping
pronounce
up to
ours.
Boston
Yeah.
all the time.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
No,
that was
no,
just
that's
one
okay.
point I
That-
want to get.
that was like silly, like potentially purposely.
And by the way, Cap kills a lot of people in this sequence.
Oh yeah. So he beats Schmidt or whatever his name is, and he's flying the plane, and he's talking to Cap Agent Carter, and he's like, first of all, I don't know how they got from the Alps to New York, but like, there's nowhere to land this plane. I just got to crash it. And the plane's going down. Okay, just do this. Pull up. Just pull up. Find
What?
water. At least crash into water.
Or turn.
So
right?
He
anyway,
tried to. He was just over a bunch.
He
of
didn't do
ice.
anything. No. Rewatch it because
He didn't want to go any further because then it was going to like
yeah, but
hit
you can just do
civilians and shit.
this.
That
and
was
there was
my
all
thing.
like snowy everywhere.
She was like,
Yeah.
she's like, "We have time," and he's like, "No, we don't." And I was like, "Well, I mean, if you can point it down, you could have also
You
just
point
like
it up.
went in a circle,
Yeah.
or like you could have bought more time and stayed in the same spot, and
Yeah.
like
Couldn't do it. You got to put it down.
because
or fly in the opposite direction back towards the Alps.
he could have at least gotten himself like 15 more minutes so he could have sent them where he was located, because they clearly were trying to find him afterwards, and like they just had no idea where in the ice he crashed. So like if he had just even taken the time to be like, "Oh, these are my coordinates," that would have
Or there's
saved the
probably a parachute or two there. Keep it floating.
one of the
Crash
planes
it
that was
still.
supposed to head
Yeah,
to Boston.
Yeah.
There are so many options, and I just like it, and it felt so rushed too. Where it was just like he was like, "Nope, I had a good one.
He just
I'm
didn't-
at my peak."
He was nervous about the dance. He was like, "Oh, this is the only way."
And don't
No,
even.
he quit while he was ahead. He was having. If he just is idly chatting for too long with Peggy, he's going to say something stupid, and those will be his last words.
"Oh, sleepy. You got to go to bed." I've entered, Tinder conversations like that. You just cut
Starts
it while
talking
you're
about
ahead.
like. She's like, "So have you ever?" And he's like, "Yeah." Then he does like the whole 40-year virgin thing, talking about bags of sand and shit.
No, she
And
knows
like, and
he's
that's how he
never.
dies.
That
Yeah,
would've-
it's
that
very
would've been
clear.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he saves the day. He gets thought out years later. They fake like, and one thing that is dumb is that they know what year he went in the ice, and they play a game from 1941.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they don't.
It's
They
dumb.
couldn't have just done a month later. They know like when this happened. Just they had to pick something that was like
Yeah, like
while
years
he was
before
alive.
he went into the ice.
We're the most advanced military secret organization, but we can't actually do research.
We
Like,
oversaw the one thing. Like
Or just don't play anything.
also,
Yeah.
you're
If you're
frozen for like 70 years, and you wake up and you hear a radio, and it's a baseball game. You just instantly remember. I remember that exact game when this happened.
They could have just even been safe and
Exact
been
type
like,
of thing.
let's play anything from the 30s that's a song. And then like,
Just play a
Why
song.
don't they play music?
Or
just
not
play
play the
music.
radio.
Yeah,
just-
or just not.
You didn't need
You
the
just
radio
didn't-
playing.
Yeah.
Didn't have to do
Yeah.
that.
And that clearly isn't going to work because it's just a set. And the second he looks out the window, he's going to be like, well, that's 2D.
Yeah, there was nothing more to it. It was just
And then he looks up and goes, well, there's no ceiling. It's just studio lights. I assume
Wait
there
a
was
minute.
ceiling. But,
No,
yeah, so
This doesn't sound
think
like
it's
New
so
York.
what's with all those people watching?
I say New York.
Hey. But so
We're
yeah.
the rats.
Captain America was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
So he goes into the ice, clearly a virgin at that point, right?
That's another. Yeah, I'll bring that back up. Come back to that after.
Final thoughts.
What year do we think he's no longer a virgin, or does he just never until he goes back in time?
I don't think he
never.
ever had. He
And
can't
that
have
just
sex.
raises a whole bunch of other questions. Like, does that make him like a fucking 106-year-old?
Did
We skipped around in the movie a lot. We didn't really talk about
much.
the first half plot wise, and then we decided to really zero in on the final bit of plot. But
I
like the plane stuff. We only talked about it negatively, but I actually like the plane stuff. I think it's good.
Okay.
I think him and Hayley Atwell have good chemistry. I don't know. Okay. Whatever. All right, we're done here. What do you
I liked the training scene. I liked how he like just knocked the flag over. I thought that was a classic military moment. Like
That
that
was
is
good.
something like I could
Oh,
see
yeah,
happening
okay.
as having somebody that went to basic training. Like that is something that would have gotten 99.9% of the people in the unit. Nobody would think to just like knock the flagpole over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I could talk about an overarching thing that made me upset.
Okay, sure.
This Captain America, or what was his name in the movie?
Captain America.
He didn't have a name.
Steve.
Steve
Yeah,
Rogers.
of course, he looked like a Steve. Yeah, so Steve, stand up dude. He's just a genuinely really good person. He finally gets his first kiss. He falls in love. The whole movie, there's that like sexual tension between him and I'm not gonna remember her name ever. Agent Carter. I keep wanting to say Captain something, but that's who Steve is.
Nick Carter.
And like they have this like we're just waiting for him to bang the whole time. I mean, realistically, like how did that not happen throughout all of that? He's risking his life over and over again, and she's just not gonna like.
She was waiting till the war was over.
Yeah, but
They were separated until they meet up on that base in Italy. She's been over
Italy.
there.
What better place?
And then he, like, the first day they're there, he goes off and does that mission. Then they're just doing missions. But one of those interludes in London, perhaps,
Doesn't have an extra. Probably 3 minutes.
She should have,
It's
at
his
the
first
very
time.
least, danced with him in the bar after he had like done
Yeah,
the
like
saved all the
something.
buddies.
They
Like,
didn't even kiss. I don't think. Right?
They kissed once when he
Just
was getting
once.
onto the plane.
while they're in that car.
And
It's super fast.
the ending, they ended it on such like a sad, like there was no redeeming part of the ending. They were just like, I had a date, or I had like I missed a dance or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm late to a dance, and then they ended it, and it was like that's so sad. He didn't even have time with her.
oh, don't worry.
Yeah, that's the point.
He sees her as a 90-year-old woman in one of the next movies. So.
I knew that,
Winter
but-
Soldier.
Yeah.
And immediately begins dating her granddaughter.
Oh God.
Or great niece. Or
Something like
Or
that.
just niece, maybe, but the ages don't match up.
Oh, that's
It's pretty sexy.
It's
weird.
Chris Pratt's sister from Everwood is who's playing that person. She was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Anyway,
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't think that was like why end it that way? To make you like really sad right at the end. Like that's not how
Yeah.
you end movies.
How
that is how you end some movies. I think it's a good ending when they leave it there.
How awkward is that conversation when he goes back in time to live with her again? Oh, by the way, for a brief period of when you died, I dated your niece for a little bit or whatever.
In classic Captain America fashion, I think they only kissed once.
Okay. All right. That's fair, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think he.
She
Wait,
lived
who?
next door to
done
him.
it.
He should have like
He only kissed the other girl too.
Yeah, that's all he does.
Yeah, he
Yeah, I mean,
he kisses.
but yeah, anyway, Captain America, like the fact that it was Captain America as like, the comic, the story, like the novelty of it, I didn't enjoy the movie. And also do not think I would not consider it a good movie based on the factors that I mentioned. But I think I like a lot of movies that are definitely not good movies.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
It's my personal opinion.
Like
I like
critic
this one.
wise.
I found it like really refreshing to watch it after only seeing recent Marvel stuff recently. So this transitions well into the actual kind of game, more just an activity for the end here.
Ooh, bringing back the games.
What do you guys consider your favorite Marvel movies and least favorites? If we wanted to do some rankings, maybe top and bottom fives. They don't have to be in order, but it would be a lot cleaner if they are.
Can we choose Avengers?
Yeah.
Oh.
So keeping it just to the 27 MCU movies. 27? That's what you said before. So
That's what Greg said on Discord or Echo.
All right. So it's more than 23 because that was Endgame, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But
Top 5, we'll say the Avengers. We'll count all of those as one. I'll say Ant-Man 1 and 2.
and it's Avengers 1 that you're running.
I'm just putting all of them into one
You
category.
gotta pick.
Yeah, just all of them are
I
one.
don't
You gotta
remember which
pick.
one's which.
Fine. The last one, I think, was my
So
favorite.
just Endgame.
Just
okay.
Endgame. And then I'd say Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Ant-Man, and then Thor 3, Ragnarok, and then 5, Iron Man, the original Iron Man. Bottom 5, Thor Dark World, Thor Dark World, Thor Dark World, Thor Dark World, and Third Dark World.
Wow, is that bad?
The worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh
I
my
think it's
God.
better than Iron Man 2.
Okay, fine. 5 can be, or one of the bottom 5 can be Iron Man 2. All right. Thor Dark World, Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2, and then
Yeah,
I don't
Iron
know.
Man 3 is kind of weird too.
I didn't like that.
No, it ends with him like blowing up all his suits, and you're like, no more Iron Man. And he was not even halfway through the amount of movies he was going to be in it.
Yeah, it's stupid, bad movies.
So my top would be something like Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, we'll say 1. We're going to talk about Guardians more later this month. Hint, hint. I would also put Thor Ragnarok in there. Avengers Infinity War. I think Infinity War is the best of the Avengers movies, personally.
Wait, what happens in that one?
That is the beginning of the Infinity War.
Oh, it's the first one?
Well, it's the
one that
second to
comes
last
before
one.
Endgame.
Second to
It's
last
the
one.
third Avengers movie.
So there's Avengers.
Wait,
Avengers,
there's 4 Avengers?
It's Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War Part 1, Infinity War Part 2.
Which one do
No,
they
there's
not
no
feel
part
so
1 and
good
2. It's
anymore?
Infinity War, then Endgame.
Part 1 and Part 2.
That was 2, right?
I mean, you could
don't
say
feel so
all
good
these movies is
anymore.
like part whatever of 27 if you want to do it like that.
All right, never mind.
And then I'd also probably have Black Panther in there. I don't know. I don't feel super strong. Maybe Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's good.
Okay, I think I got it.
Not Captain at my bottom would be Captain Marvel, Thor 2. I like a little more than you guys, but I still don't think it's that good. Iron Man 2, Age of Ultron's down there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. That's fair.
I accidentally typed in Narvel movies instead of Marvel movies.
What'd you get?
Narvel Blackstock, who is Reba McEntire's ex-husband, who apparently made a couple of movies.
Reba. Did you
Shut up, Narvel.
Did you do your list, Cory?
Yeah,
you-
I mean, I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
really give a definitive list,
Yeah, it doesn't have
but Black
specifics.
Panther is definitely up there. Some mixture of the Avengers movie. I don't remember which one is which now. I'll just say Endgame because that was the most recent and I saw it twice. And I did really like both Guardians and Ant-Man. And then as far as bad movies, I'm going to have to say, obviously, Captain America. I also didn't really like Iron Man 2. Yeah, I don't know. That's it.
Okay.
Thor was pretty good too. But.
I
Yeah.
think mine.
Yeah.
I think mine's like very similar to yours, Ben. I'd say my number one's probably the original Guardians. Number 2's Infinity War. Number 3 would probably be Thor Ragnarok. Then 4 maybe the second Guardians, and then maybe the first Iron Man.
Yeah, I only kept one Guardians on my list, but I do like both.
Yeah. And then I feel like I haven't seen a lot of the bad ones. I'd say probably Captain America. And
There's gonna be a lot of upset people after.
yeah, maybe Age of Ultron.
good movie, bro. It's first Captain America.
Yeah, it's better than Ultron.
Yeah, I'd say those.
What's Ultron?
Those two.
Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie.
Oh, I didn't think that was that bad. Is it like notoriously bad?
No, those fine.
Yeah, it's
I thought it was just like yeah, this is a Marvel movie.
It's just kind of like in a weird island. Doesn't do much of anything.
Yeah.
It just like,
They all just blend into one movie for me, and I'm like, I don't know.
well, on purpose, they become serialized. Then that leads into the Sokovia Accords, which is what Civil War is about, and that's why they're not all together at the beginning of Infinity War.
Also did not like the Civil War plot. Captain America should have been on the side of signing up, and Iron Man should have been on the side of not signing up. That was a big misplay. It's so out of character.
Oh, that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, they do it because he's all upset about Sokovia.
I get
he's
what
like,
they're
well-
saying.
And his whole thing is, you know, he feels guilty for like every weapon. And now he has a bunch of friends that are weapons that are unregulated, and he's mad about it. I'm not saying it makes sense, but I'm saying that is what they tried to do.
Yeah, I understand what they try to do, but just it completely destroyed their whole characters and everything that was set up for them. Like, it just did not make any sense.
Sure.
But whatever.
I think I've watched too many good movies recently, and now these movies just they don't hit for me.
Yeah. It's good to have a balanced diet, though.
Hmm.
Anything else we want to say about Captain America? So after this comes Thor, then Avengers.
Then Almost Heroes.
And I will say that we're going kind of back in our, you and me, you listening and me talking, our chronological timeline. We're going to do Iron Man next. Just the way the schedule's worked out, we're going to do Iron Man first. But that's okay. We did the one that's said earlier first. It's fine. And we'll do Iron Man next, and other ones that we are going to do this month, in case you want to prepare. Because it's the 10th anniversary of Avengers, after the first two Phase 1 movies, we're going to do the first Avengers. Then also this month, we're going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 1, because that introduces some Infinity Stones, introduces space, which is important now. And then after that, we're going to follow it up with the first Doctor Strange movie, because the second one's coming out, and if we see that in time, or those of us on that episode that have, we can talk about that a little bit too. But it'll be an episode just on the first one.
I see. Yeah.
That's not coming out until the end of May, so people will have time to watch it before.
Yeah, I got my months wrong. I was like, no, April's almost over, but like, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's coming up for us in our Marvel Cinematic Universe month. Get excited.
It's a marvel.
It's fun that we're starting
It's
with one that
marvelous.
is pretty divisive, and hopefully people like Iron Man more. We'll see. We'll see on the next episode.
I do.
Yeah, watching Captain America back to back with Thor and Iron Man. Iron Man is clearly the best one, in my opinion.
Of those three.
Of those three,
I
yeah.
think that's correct. And we'll see. I haven't rewatched it yet, so I haven't seen it for a little bit now. But
I'd have a hard time ranking Thor versus Iron Man.
The originals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the first Thor leaves a lot to be desired, because they didn't know Chris Hemsworth was funny yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but that's for me.
Yeah.
That's fair. I just love the power of thunder.
Cut.
Thunder.
You can find us on Instagram at late2themovies_podcast. I said it right that time. And that's 2, the number, not 2 spelled out. You can check out the Gmail account and send anything you want to Noah. late2themovies@gmail.com. I think that's the address. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. And besides that, you can go to the TeePublic, buy 50 to 60 t-shirts in honor of the 10th anniversary of Avengers. They don't say Avengers on them, but you'll know. And aside from that, rate and review us, please. I hate saying that. It feels very corny, but apparently it works.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
It remains to be seen if anyone enjoys hearing that, but apparently it works. I don't know. It'll be really sad if you don't. Now you feel guilty. You listen to all this free content that we put hours of work into, and you're not even going to give us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Music / Apple Podcast. I don't have an iPhone, so I'm not sure which app you use.
Make them an
Allow
offer they can't
notifications.
refuse.
A lot of notifications. Anyway, anyone have a good post-credit stinger?
Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
Oh wait, it's not gonna be Earth Day.
So the
Avengers
credits-
assemble.
Yes. Well, that's the post-credit stinger for this one is a trailer for the Avengers movie. So, we're putting together a team.
to record
It's the-
podcasts.
The
It's the Late to the Movies project.
We need you
I'm wearing an
to
eye
like and
patch right
subscribe.
now.
I mean, rate and review.
I'm wearing an eye patch right now. That's how you know it's a reference. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Avengers Assemble.
Okay.
We did it.
We did it.
Can I move?
Yeah.
Okay.